skog. Han vill men kan inte sova. Hungern river hans varga buk. Och det är kallt i hans stova.
I'm going to share with you another dream experience again, one of my very, very recent ones, not even typed up yet, from that same Thanksgiving weekend, October the 12th, 2019, where I had two profound dreams, spiritual dreams back to back. And this one I have shared in writing on the Deliverance Network as well. And in it, I was lying in a most serene, profound state of peace and joy. I don't know where I was, but just lying with God in the dream. And all of a sudden, I saw come in front of me a long line of angels, and right in front of me they stopped, and there were maybe 3 or 4 that I saw directly in front of me in this dream. And I knew, I was given to know in the dream, that these were new angels that had just been assigned as part of my personal retinue, or guard, if you will. I already have been shown that I've had many angels around me for many years, protecting me with this spiritual battle, and part of the call I've been called to, the deeper work. But these angels were freshly assigned now for a purpose I did not know, but as we're seeing events unfold in the world, I'm speculating it's because of some more difficult times that we're entering into. And the angels were all more simple, childlike angels, very straight, unadorned white gowns they wore. And I remember this last angel in the line is the one that particularly caught my attention. She was, I say she because she appeared more of a she. She appeared to be very, very simple, open, faithful, trusting, and childlike. And she turned to look at me, and I looked at her, and I could sense what she was thinking, and she, of course, knew me, as our angels do. And I looked at her, and I saw she was sort of surprised at the level of profound love and adoration I have for God inside. And I sort of smiled back at her sweetly, and I said to her, "Do you not know my soul?" And then, of course, if she was freshly assigned to me, I guess she's getting to learn me more now. But it was just an exchange of her knowing how much I love God, and me looking back and saying, well, of course, this is who I am. And I share this with you because I want everyone to not fear in this time of greater difficulty that we're entering into, because God is way ahead of us. He has provided the spiritual protection in the past. He will continue to in the future. The most important thing is to choose to be on His side, because the biblical message is He will send His angels to watch over you lest you dash your foot upon a stone. So we are highly protected. Well, this dream experience from October the 28th, 2005 ties into the biblical theme of chastisement and how our prayer can make a difference in what happens. And it can definitely make a difference right now in the midst of this COVID-19 outbreak. In this dream experience, I was standing in a garden, and there was a little path and a thing behind me that had 2 dividers on either side, a vertical archway, if you will. And I looked straight up because all of a sudden in the daytime, pure day, all of a sudden above me there was an absolutely huge angel of God. And I saw mostly the face of this angel. And it was in the appearance of a large billowing cloud of a very unusual color. And if I had to choose a color, it would be olive green. And it was a massive angel, and I knew it was a vengeance angel of God come to bring a punishment, a chastisement. So I immediately got down on my knees, which I won't now because we're in the middle of the slushy snow, praying to God, all of the while staring up at this sight of this massive vengeance angel. And I just kept repeating over and over again, have mercy on your creation, God. Have mercy on your creation. Have mercy on your creation, which is what we can all do and should be doing, even more so now, especially that divine mercy, chaplet and rosary. I was most upset. And as I watched, the cloud lightened a little in its severity and its darkness, and it was a way of God showing me that prayer can intervene and change the outcome of what is going to happen. And of course, this was before the SARS and H1N1 outbreaks. And I saw again when I turned and looked to my right, which would have been over in the east in this particular dream, I saw a large billowing swarm of locusts begin to form, and start to spread in this huge cloud from east to west, and they became this descending attack or horde. And of course, locusts are also very biblical as methods of chastisement or punishment from God. Think of the days of Egypt and Joseph in Egypt. And this attack started to come from east to west, and we all had to go indoors and prepare ourselves to be protected from some of these chastisements, and God's going to be offering protection. And I awoke in horror seeing this happening. Of course, there have been recent outbreaks and episodic things of locusts in Africa and South Asia recently. So I liken all of this to very, very biblical times, important biblical times that we're in, and I'm going to be sharing some more with you about the chastisements and how God is leading and protecting, and has given us extra angels for protection. I'm going to share with you a second dream experience, this one from September the 28th, 2007, but also again tied into the theme of chastisement. This one with another locust plague descending, and of course the plague being biblical symbol of chastisement. And in this one, it was also tied to a wedding ceremony and being a bride, and of course that is also biblical in the fact that we are to be the bride of Christ. And it had to do with the wedding reception and the wedding, that people were all called to the wedding, but guests were not ready. And then all of a sudden, well, time has run out. So this has to do with time being very short, and that we are all called to the marriage ceremony with Christ. And I was dressed and ready and waiting. Other people were not, so I were calling them in at the last minute. And then I saw a chastisement begin to unfold, and so I was calling everyone to seek shelter quickly because it happened so suddenly. And of course, the outbreak of the COVID-19 has definitely caught a lot of people off guard. The locust plagues we've had over in Africa. This one was tied more to India and Pakistan as areas of attack from the locust plague. And basically I was just exhorting people to seek the appropriate shelter, to stay indoors, to close doors, to protect themselves. And the ultimate protection, honestly, is to decide for God, decide for love, and to try to repent of any sin and live out your life in as holy a state as possible, so that you have the protection of God and His angels for anything that might come in this world. I'm going to share with you a dream experience from June the 3rd, 2007 that is tied to the fact that I'm being called to witness and to be of inspiration, hope, and service to other people. And it all had to do with a coming time of great difficulty, which we're a little bit in right now. And it had to do especially with younger people, with teenagers and young adults, ones who were perhaps students at a college, university, and how they really were unprepared for the times that we're entering into, and how they were afraid. So a lot of people had fear, and it wasn't just young people, but everybody having quite a bit of fear as to what was unfolding in the earth. And that I saw them all, and they were all kind of cowering and hiding in fear and lying, and they're like, what's happening? What's going on in the world? Are we going to die? And a lot of fear, which of course we are seeing right now in various places in the world with regard to the COVID-19 outbreak. And I basically came to them and was drawn to become a witness for them, to say, listen, do not fear, but you do have to understand what is going on and what you need to do about it and what you can do about it. And I was called to basically be a witness and to be an inspirational voice and a voice of hope in the midst of difficult times and the midst of fear. And so I'm trying to do that now with the witness that I'm giving to everyone through the Deliverance Network in my writings and in our video sharings. And I urge everyone to take seriously the fact that this life is their spiritual journey. There's a great purpose to it. We do not need to fear, even though we might be facing difficult times, but the choices that you make now are quite important and quite urgent, because the times are becoming more urgent. So really it is the time to dig deep within yourself, to start asking the heavier spiritual questions instead of living on the surface, and to try to seek God and to choose love and to follow the 10 Commandments and do the best you can to become a better person, because ultimately your death is your birth into your eternal life, which is never ending. And what you choose today is very important, that choice ends up being one for good in the end. This is a very short dream experience from Friday, March the 24th, 2006, and I think it ties into the period of time we find ourselves in. And there was a character in the dream by the name of Joan, and from baby name books, etc., name meanings, Joan means literally, quote, God has been gracious. So I thought that was very interesting, first of all, in the dream, because God has been very gracious and very patient with us, and we've been in a prolonged time of mercy, as many of you know. In the dream, I was brought beside a water plant, and we're at a water purification facility right now. And it was like a little factory. And I was shown that the doors were being shut, so no water was running. And in the dream experience, this figure, Joan, God has been gracious, spoke of how the father and her son, of course there's the father and son, both been working at this plant, but now there's a time of the closure and a strike. And that some people have been working behind the scenes to stave off this action. And of course this is prayer, sacrifice, suffering, and witness to try to prolong the time of mercy that we have been able to do for quite some time. And that it has been staving off the closing off and the end of this strike that's to come, and the not water running. And then at the end of the dream, I saw 3 judges, basically. So again, that symbolizes this period of judgment at the end of the time of mercy, standing in front of this water plant, and they just wore long open robes. And of course I liken the 3 judges to the 3 persons of the Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And again, it ties into that biblical reading that I'm going to be sharing with you, of how God allows certain things, chastisements, punishments, as purification and wake-up call for the world, to try to draw as many souls to come to Him as possible, maybe that wouldn't otherwise if life just continued on as usual. And it is all tried again to that time of the ending of the time of mercy and the beginning of the time of justice. And I'm going to leave you with this exhortation: do not fear, but look and see what can you do to help others, what can you do to be the most prepared for the coming storm. And that is prayer and attempting to stay away from sin, trying to live a life of holiness, and sacrifice and witness for your families, for your neighbors, and growing as close as possible as you can in your relationship with God, and trust God no matter what life brings. God bless. To find out more about these experiences and the writings that I have centered around them, please visit the Deliverance Network at www.deliverancenetwork.com. And if you're interested in our women's group Sisterhood, please check out www.sisterhood.live.